Welcome to the 26th Vegan Convergence of the Peoples. I'm Rebecca Allen, and I'm so very happy to introduce you to Jane Velez-Mitchell. Jane Velez-Mitchell is an American television and social media journalist, author, producer, and powerhouse for justice for the animals and life on Earth. Welcome, Jane Velez-Mitchell. And you're here for the lessons from the Ridglan Farms and anything else you want to tell us. Take it away, Jane.
Thank you so much. And thank you to Dr. Rao for inviting me. I always appreciate his support. And of course, we support Dr. Rao and his efforts. The last time I was here, we profiled the climate healers and showed the climate healers, which is a new short mini doc that we just did. We have been producing a whole lot of content. I can start with the Ridgeland dogs, but I thought that maybe it would be fun to start with something a little more upbeat, very short, that we just published this week. And it's kind of fun. So basically, I went to this party and people were doing this chant, Namaste Vegan Love. And I thought, can you see the screen?
Yes, it looks great.
Okay. Yeah. So I thought, wow, this is really interesting. And it's all about yogis and love. And then I started thinking about all the yogis who are eating animals. So Jamie Logan, the great social media influencer, Devi Daly, who's an incredible yoga instructor, very well known, and Carlos Garcia, who's an incredible drummer. All of us got together and just on the fly, we produced this. I think it's a lot of fun. Check it out and tell me what you think.
Namaste, vegan love, a message from above. So I'm practicing yoga and holding that pose, stretching my body from my head to my toes. Namaste, vegan love, a message from above. I'm saying I'm peaceful, I'm saying I'm kind, but when I open my eyes, I know I'm not blind. I think I'm non-violent, I know I'm for peace, but what about all of those beings I eat? Namaste, vegan love, a message from above. I say it's a habit and that I can't quit, but deep down inside I know that I'm full of Namaste, vegan love, a message from above. I have to admit that I always knew it's not what you say, it is what you do. Namaste, vegan love, a message from above. Peace begins on my plate whenever it's too late.
Well, I hope y'all enjoyed that. It was something we did very quickly on the fly, but getting a lot of positive responses on that. We also have a new season of New Day, New Chef, which is super fun with the action star. She's been in a lot of big action movies. Nina Bergman. Don't worry, we'll get to the serious stuff in a second, but a couple of more fun tidbits to tell you what we're doing on Unchained TV. It's all new.
if you have never seen this before, well, where have you been?
So please check out all of our other New Day New Chefs, new season, very fun, top vegan. We've just done incredible new cooking videos with Gabrielle Reyes, One Great Vegan, where she sings her recipes. And that has basically been very popular. She's teaching people how to make a feast for under $10 for more than a dozen people. So you just got to check that out. It's super fun. And we've got a lot of other stuff happening, but I know you wanted us to talk about Ridgeland. So we have an entire category here about the Ridgeland Beagles. So we are live with breaking news, the news that so many people have been waiting for so long. Beagles free, Beagles touching grass for the first time. This is absolutely extraordinary. The first 300 of 1,500 Beagles that are going to be released have been freed.
Oh my God, it feels unbelievably good. I am so, I can't even express. When I watched the first van leave the facility earlier today, the first thing I did was I went to my little dog, my one remaining little dog and my one remaining little cat. I kissed him and I said, thank you. And the reason I thanked him is because
the reason she thanked him is that animals teach pure love. Now, that was such a happy ending. It turns out all 2,000 of the Beagles will be freed, and all 2,000 Beagles will be freed, and the facility itself will be closed down. But what had to happen before that was extraordinarily disturbing and violent, for lack of a better word. So I'm going to show you the instant special. Unshade TV was live, as you can see, for more than 20 hours throughout this entire saga, even more than that. But the moment that really was the breakthrough was like a war. The first rescue happened. 24 Beagles approximately were rescued. Law enforcement said, if you do that again, we're going to respond in force. Then approximately 1,000 rescuers went to Ridgeland to rescue the Beagles again. And this was a historic clash that occurred on April 18th, 2006. We did an instant mini doc on it, but I'll just show you a little bit of it, and we can discuss it on the other side.
Let him go in the name of Jesus!
The whole world is watching you. Do you know that?
In the name of Jesus, let him go! That is an order from the King of Heaven! Let him go!
The whole world is watching
Let
this.
him go immediately! That is an order!
The world is watching you right now.
Tear gassed me and maced me so bad.
This is like the makeshift triage where activists are being treated for tear gas.
The guy in the black just sprayed it right into my face.
The police is actively tear gassing.
Okay, try blinking that one for me, okay?
The deputy sheriff came out of his truck. He said, disperse, disperse. I turned and he just shoved the pepper spray canister in my face and squirted me.
They basically just grabbed me immediately, sprayed me with, pepper spray, and shot me, point blank with 2 rubber bullets right in the side. I can show you if you wanted. I want to see its little.
Oh my gosh.
So.
Oh my god. I saw the bullets, they're huge.
Does anybody have
Were you trying to rescue a dog?
I'm on red team and yeah, I'm on red team and breach and like give me your towel.
Yeah.
I'm worried that it's like contaminated and it's gonna make it worse.
Alright. I don't understand these people behind those fences would rescue a dog if in that condition if they found him on the street, and yet they're preventing their rescue now.
We are live in Wisconsin with 4 reporters on the ground. We're going to go straight out to Amy. Amy, you are live. Amy, what's happening?
We're over on Irby Road, just north of Ridglan. We saw in the live stream that Wayne was arrested immediately on site as he was trying to serve papers to Ridglan for a lawsuit.
So are you saying that the operation is underway, the rescue is underway?
That is correct, Jane. The rescue is underway. And I'm actually going to change your view so you can see what I see as I'm walking in.
We were told that today was going to be a training day, that the action was going to happen tomorrow, but they have started the open rescue of 2,000 beagles right now, and it is underway. You are watching animal rights history in action as vehicles converge. About 1,000 activists from around the country and indeed the world. It is underway as we speak right now.
Jane, I'm hearing there's tear gas.
Oh no! Oh no!
Tear gas already being deployed.
Tear gas? Oh my gosh, that's very scary. This is literally unbelievable. Now, Renee King-Sonnen, what are your thoughts?
I am in utter awe. I am in shock. I am so incredibly grateful that we are here. We're here at this moment in history on Unchained TV. It is just an absolute miracle that that we're converging at this time in history, and just God's blessings on all of them.
Unbelievable. Today we were told that this was going to be a training, testing, but you never know with this organization. They change things moment to moment because the law enforcement had said they were going to basically stop them. And you just heard that tear gas is being used. About 1,000 activists descending on this troubled facility. You can see activists going in there. And I urge you, Amy, to stay safe. We don't want to put anybody in danger. But this is amazing. This is absolutely extraordinary. The courage that these people, because, you know, there's charges. The last time this happened, they are now facing charges. All right. Well, what is happening now, Amy?
Yeah, Jane. So I'm seeing what looks like a lot of tear gas being deployed. Tear gas. It's tear gas being deployed.
They pepper sprayed us right in the face, tear gas, throwing it right into the crowd. I mean, people that have asthma couldn't breathe. They were falling down. It was just violent as I've never seen such violence against peaceful activists in my life. This is unacceptable.
Yeah.
We're here to save the dogs, to help the dogs and their suffering in these are torture chambers. These are compounds of horror for these poor dogs.
Yes. They are holding flowers. There you go. Thank you, Mike.
1, 2, 3, 4. Open up the cage doors!
5, 6, 7, 8. Special locks and liberty. 9, 10, 11, 12.
This is absolutely extraordinary. I want to play for a second while we're watching this what the cops said.
Dane County community. I'm your Dane County Sheriff Calvin Baird, and I'm here to provide an update on an event that we've been made aware of that's going to be taking place this weekend in Dane County, Wisconsin. An outside animal activist group has organized and planned a protest and intentional break-in of private property at the Ridglan Farms facility in Blue Mountains, Wisconsin. But we have to draw a decisive line between peacefully protesting and disagreeing and violently breaking into a facility, damaging property, and stealing private property. Our sheriff's office will be there on site to ensure that people can exercise their First Amendment rights. But when people start breaking in and breaking the law, we have to intervene to keep it maintained.
That's what he's saying. But Wayne Chung, who is the leader who has just been arrested, had his response to that. I'm going to play that very briefly so you can get Wayne's response to what the sheriff said.
The sheriff of Dane County just made a video condemning violent outsiders for breaking the law by rescuing dogs from Ridglan Farms. And this might be the craziest thing I've heard from law enforcement in my 20 years of being a lawyer. Let's unpack why. First, the sheriff's views on violence at Ridglan. This is a company that has cut the vocal cords out of dogs, held them down and injected them with rabies, and just killed them because it decided it did not want to waste money feeding them. But under the sheriff's view, all totally non-violent. In contrast, a young animal activist holding stuffed animals and flowers? Oh my God, the violence. Second, the sheriff's views on breaking the law at Ridglan. A Dane County judge issued an order indicating that any reasonable prosecutor would conclude that Ridglan broke the law. The Department of Agriculture, not usually an ally to animal activists, concluded that Ridglan violated the law over 300 times by surgically mutilating dogs. But to the sheriff, nope, not lawbreaking, because he has a completely made-up legal theory that Ridglan is exempt from the animal cruelty laws as a teaching facility. But does this look like a school? So Sheriff, with all due respect, of course you believe we are breaking the law, because you're living in a legal fantasy world. So what's really going on? Well, it's called regulatory capture. Agencies that are supposed to serve the public serve powerful interests instead. And it's happening here with the government supporting armed thugs against grandmas holding flowers and trying to rescue dogs. What do we do about it? Well, I wrote about this in a 2023 piece in the Harvard Law Review. But sometimes the only way to make change is to be the change ourselves, by going around corrupt politicians and taking direct action. And that's what we're going to do. If the politicians won't rescue the dogs, we will. And the people will support us. So it's maybe a moment to stop the share and talk a little bit about everything that you've just seen. Wow, right? But that's how change happens. Unfortunately, and I don't know what your experience is, but my experience has been in this field for decades now that polite requests, appeals to reason, appeals to the law do not work. And political pressure and other forms of pressure are really what move the needle. And this was literally a war that occurred. And mind you, the animal rights activists were nonviolent in the sense that they never hit anybody, they never touched anybody. Did they snip a chain link fence? Did they try to penetrate the facility? Yes, but they feel that they have legal justifications for doing so. Now, approximately, well over 50 people are going to face charges for the various attempts at Ridglan. But what happened in the wake of that? What happened was global news coverage. And I've always said it's really pathetic that animal activists have to either get arrested or get naked to get mainstream media coverage. But to this day, that is for the most part true, because look what they had to go through to get media coverage. But with this whole thing, one of the incredible positives that came out of it was a cultural shift. And it seems like the culture really had shifted against animal experimentation on many fronts. And what happened was, and we can show you another video on that, was that more mainstream groups like the Center for Humane Economy were talking behind the scenes with Ridglan. And ultimately, they held a news conference and said, the Beagles will be purchased. And ultimately, then they said Ridglan is going to shut down for good. So there was a huge victory there. Sure, it would have been better if those animals had been freed without having to be paid for, but this is a real world situation. And the fact is that all the Beagles are getting out. Almost all of them are out. There may be approximately 100, 150. The number keeps changing very rapidly. That may still be there till, I don't know, the end of August. But the news, the headline is all the Beagles are getting out of Ridglan.
and the facility is going to be shut down. Amazing, amazing victory. Now, the entire movement has pivoted to New York, where a much larger Beagle breeding facility exists. And there is going to be a giant march in September to basically focus the world's attention on that facility. And I'm going to show you a video because they need people to sign up. And I'm hoping that some of you will sign up. We've already committed to covering this march to abolish animal testing. It's going to be on September 12th. They're going to march from Albany to Marshall Bioresources. Let's play a little bit of the interview I did with the organizers of that.
Live from the Unchained TV headquarters in Los Angeles, California. This is Truth Files with Jane Velez-Mitchell.
And Julie was on the bottom row, 2 foot by 4 foot
Oh,
metal.
Jane, we're not seeing it.
Her entire life. She lived there for about a year. Over 2 hours.
It's not.
Every single.
Okay, hold on.
Towards Julie.
Oh, is it not? It's not playing. Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
I've got to share my screen again.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, my bad. Sorry. Okay, we're gonna do that. Thank you for reminding me. And luckily we only got 19 seconds into that, but I appreciate it.
Live from the Unchained TV headquarters in Los Angeles, California. This is Truth Files with Jane Velez-Mitchell.
And Julie was on the bottom row in a 2 foot by 4 foot metal cage, standing on wire her entire life. She lived there for about a year. In over a 2 hour time period, every single time we looked towards Julie, she was spinning exactly like this for 2 hours. All 3 of the dogs we rescued from Ridglan Farms, there's video footage of these dogs after we rescued them struggling to even walk, and this is one of them, Julie.
Now there is an effort to rescue more dogs. The scene of action has moved from Wisconsin, which is Ridglan, to upstate New York. And now there is going to be a march, a Gandhi-style march, September 12th through September 26th. And you can learn all about it because we are so thrilled to have one of the organizers with us here today, Ella Majors.
Yes, we're talking about the March to Abolish Animal Testing happening in September 12th through the 26th. We are trekking 200 miles, 207 miles to be exact, from the seat of power in New York, Albany, all the way to Marshall Bioresources, which is the country's largest breeder of animals, and especially of beagles, for animal testing. So we are going to be building the momentum, keeping the momentum that we started with Ridglan and the roughly 2,000 beagles we were able to rescue there. And we're on a mission to shut down Marshall Bioresources and to end dog experimentation in this country.
We have footage of protests that have been occurring outside Marshall Bioresources as the battle to stop animal experimentation hits New York. The original scene of the confrontations was in Wisconsin at Ridglan Farms. And so there was a lot of drama surrounding that, but that ultimately ended in victory for the animal activists. And now the focus moves to New York State. You're looking at protests that are happening right now outside Marshall Bioresources. And when I say right now, I mean in recent days. And people are just saying, we want this facility shut down as well. The facility in New York is much bigger than the facility in Ridglan, where there were 2,000 beagles, and they are all in the process of being released. There are, according to published reports, up to 20,000 beagles in the New York State facility.
Yes, the numbers are a little, we're not sure exactly the numbers, but it's up to 16 to 20,000 beagles. There are also tens of thousands of cats and ferrets and many pigs as well at that facility. And this is Jane here. Jane is looking at me. Jane is one of the Beagles we rescued from Ridglan Farms. And yes, they had about 2,000. So we're talking 10x Ridglan. And we plan to get every single one of those dogs out, just like we got the dogs out of Ridglan.
Just to give our viewers a little backstory, it was way back, I think it was 2017, that Wayne Shung, who you see here, went into Ridglan and documented conditions that he said were horrific and took just 1 or 2 or 3 Beagles out, a very small number. And that just triggered the drama that was to continue for years. He was originally charged and they were going to put him on trial. And at the last second, they dropped the charges. And instead of saying, "Whew, I'm so glad that I'm not going to get charged and I'm going to go home," he stayed and insisted on justice for the Ridglan dogs. And they staged a rescue. And we've got some footage of the rescue, which is absolutely extraordinary. Take a look at this rescue that occurred this spring, in which, and you know the rest of the story, because it reminds me of my mother. We used to go to the movies and we'd always go in the middle of the movie and watch it and then wait and watch the beginning afterwards. So yes, you know the end of that story. So I hope everybody signs up for the march. And you can march 1 block, you can march 1 mile, you can march all 207 miles starting September 12th in New York. I'm sure Dr. Rao will be very happy to note that they were inspired by Gandhi's Salt March, and they hope to have the same kind of momentum building in that march, where they hope to get people as they go on the way. They hope to get news media coverage. And they point out nobody is in risk of being arrested. So don't worry about that. So the way you sign up is you go to March for Animals. I believe it's marchforanimals.org. I'm going to, or marchforanimals.com, marchforanimals.org. Go to marchforanimals.org and you can sign up. And again, you can just march a couple of miles, or you can march the entire way. And we plan to do some coverage of it. I don't know that I'm necessarily going to be there myself, but we will have a reporter there and bring the whole saga to you. So I think I've brought you up to date. Maybe we can take some questions or discuss whatever. By the way, I am going to save this. Oh yeah, you can do savethedogs.io. I'm going to say this because I just met with a consultant who said, say this, and that is Unchained TV is a 501c3 nonprofit news and entertainment network. We are the only vegan animal rights streaming television network and fast channel network. And we offer all the content for free because paywalls diminish viewership, and we want to reach the general public. And we are growing exponentially, but we do need support. If you become a monthly donor, which Dakota has become, thank you, Dakota. I hope you got your hat. I think you did. You told me you did. You get an Unchained TV hat. I'll probably run over and show you the Unchained TV hat. It's very nice. If you wear it at night, it protects you from the cars because it's bright yellow. So please consider going to unchainedtv.com/donate and supporting us. And if you are somebody who has a donor assisted fund, you know, one of those at Fidelity or any of those, consider giving to us, because I don't take a salary. We're mostly volunteer run, but we do need funds to keep our network going and keep it free. So you've heard it from me. There are others on here who do donate monthly, and I thank them very much. Anyway, questions?
Yes, we have a question from Danny. Our Danny is also taking questions from the chat.
Hi, Jane. I have actually a question from Michael. His original question was, how did Center for Humane Economy have the power to cause Ridglan to shut down? Did they or other companies successfully sue or pursue other avenues to lead them to close down?
Well, they had to remain very circumspect when they held their news conference, which is also on Unchained TV. Frankly, it's not as dramatic as some of the other events, so I could play it, but just to summarize, they were very careful to say that their goal was to get the animals out, not to reveal all the details of how they made that deal. So a lot of times deals require a level of non-disclosure. So they didn't reveal all the details. Suffice it to say, they had good news, and they had money that they had raised, and they are getting the animals and have gotten the animals out. The truth is that there was also some high-profile people. Now, we are a 501c3 nonprofit. We do not get involved in partisan politics. Lara Trump was involved. Some of her people were involved. And there is a move in this current administration to come up with alternatives to animal testing. And one of the reasons why is that there have been so many incredible advances technologically with artificial intelligence, quantum computing, organs on a chip, organoids, that you almost have to keep your head in the sand to ignore the more efficient, faster, less expensive, ultimately, alternatives to animal tests. So I think what we're seeing here is a convergence of, first of all, Americans love their dogs. We wish that they love cows, pigs, chickens, turkeys, goats, and lambs, and monkeys as much as they love dogs, but Americans love their dogs. So the idea of Beagle testing really resonated with Americans. So there's that aspect of the cultural shift. Then you have the aspect of the cultural shift that the technology in the animal-free testing arena is getting so sophisticated that even, mainstream scientists are saying, yes, these are providing better results. Remember, 95% of tests of drugs that work well in animals don't work well in humans. So it's a completely inefficient system. But there was this old mantra, we have to save lives. And anytime you just say that, everybody's supposed to turn off their brain and pretend like, oh, okay, that's the excuse for doing whatever you want to animals. Well, that day has passed. So what I see happening is the convergence of culture. People are seeing, thanks to organizations like the Simple Heart DXC, all these other groups, the Monty Project, all these groups that got together and did those rescues, putting their lives on the line, literally. And you have the advances in technology coming together, converging to approach a tipping point. To that end, at Marshall Bioresources, you have the incumbent Republican congressman, I believe his name is Nick Langworthy, speaking and sounding like a radical animal rights activist in his speeches outside Ridglan. And you also have the Democratic challenger against him saying he's not doing enough, that he just wants to reform it. And we have to even do more to stop animal testing. So when you have Republicans and Democrats falling over each other, these are obviously people who cannot agree on almost anything else, to condemn Beagle experimentation specifically, but by extension, animal experimentation. That to me is evidence of a cultural shift. So there's even a new National Institutes of Health agency called ORIVA. And, maybe I'll just share my screen and show that, because I think that it's not gotten the attention it should get. That is, it's really huge. And let me just share my screen one more time to show that. This is a new National Institutes of Health Office of Research, Innovation, Validation, and Application. And here it says, the NIH Office of Research, Innovation, Validation, and Application will coordinate NIH efforts to develop, validate, and scale the use of human-based approaches across NIH biomedical research. ORIVA will serve as a hub for interagency coordination and regulatory translation. New and emerging technologies have begun to allow researchers to study health and disease using human information, creating alternative methods to use replicable, translatable, and efficient results, either alone or in combination with animal models. So they go through organoids, tissue chips, and other in vitro systems, computational models which simulate complex biological human systems, real world data. So this is, when they say human-based approaches, they're talking about alternatives to animal experimentation. So this is a huge victory. Additionally, and we just did an article on this, we also do written articles, by the way, on Unchained TV. We do one a day practically. Congress just passed the FDA Modernization Act 3.0. And so the FDA Modernization Act 3.0 has now been passed in the House and the Senate. The Senate has to go do a reconciliation, but they passed an identical bill already. If it gets signed by the president into law, it will be a huge, huge victory. It's basically a push to replace animal testing. Not to get too in the weeds on here, but Director of Animal Law and Policy Institute at Vermont Law and Graduate School, Delciano Winders wrote, while the FDA has taken important steps to move away from outdated animal testing, its regulators have failed to keep pace with the law. As a result, numerous regulations still falsely indicate that animal tests are required, creating unnecessary confusion for drug developers. The FDA Modernization Act 3.0 will align those regulations with the Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act by removing outdated references to animal testing and making clear that human-relevant non-animal methods are acceptable for drug development. That's good for innovation, good for patients, and good for animals. So suffice it to say that there is a massive shift underway, and I think that's good news. The sad fact is that long-tail macaques are going into the endangered species list, even though the Department of Fish and Wildlife refuses to acknowledge it. But mainstream conservation organizations have declared that due to their being kidnapped from the wild for experimentation, long-tail macaques are now endangered. So that's the bad news. So, it's a lot happening, but there is reason for hope.
I have a little bit more to ask you.
Sure.
I think we still have some time here. I'd like to know what your thoughts are, what you're gathering information around how supportive the technology companies are to making the switch away from animals into technology, because I would think that would be a boon for them. And then the other thing is, do you know what happened at Merck? Was there a protest at Merck for the several Ridglan Beagles that were transferred there?
I believe there was a some kind of demonstration, but don't quote me on it, because honestly, there's so much happening in the animal rights movement that it'd be very, even though Unchained TV strives to be a digital town square and capture the animal rights movement in real time, literally, and I'm sure most of you can relate, my inbox is flooded with this protest here, this protest here, this, that. I keep track as best I can as, basically one person with some help. But as far as the companies, that's a very tricky subject, because ultimately companies want to spend as little money as they can to get products out. And I believe that ultimately the speed and efficiency with which the human alternative methods can produce results with considering their accuracy is something that the companies would embrace. I've heard that they are not the ones creating the government rules that require the animal testing, right? So, but I've also heard that there's a lot of stuff that is sort of baked in that they don't want to have to change, right? I mean, if you look at other examples, I remember, it has to be 30 years ago, I went to this event where this guy showed that he could create corn-based plastic-looking bottles for all sodas. And he showed a film time lapse where he showed the bottle dissolving within 30 days. I mean, this would have transformed our world. It would have been an extraordinary leap. And I ran into him like a year later or so, and I said, "What happened to your company?" And he said, "Oh, the big companies got together and put me out of business." So, there are all these big companies that make sodas could have transitioned, but they didn't want to change their machinery to have to transition. And so now we all have what somebody said, a credit card's worth of plastic going into our systems every month because these bastards did not want to change how they did it. They just didn't want to redo their factories. So there's a little bit of that as well. So I think it's a combo platter of ridiculous government regulations that are outdated, very outdated, and companies not wanting to change how they do business, but also some of them are interested in changing. And when the thing happens, like with the Cruelty-Free Cosmetics Act, a lot of them went to cruelty-free because my dear friend Judy Mancuso with social compassion legislation led that battle to pass the Cruelty-Free Cosmetics Act in California. California is the fourth largest economy in the world, and what happens in California spreads to the rest of the country and the world. So I think that once the change happens, these companies do fall in line. And the last thing I'll say, the big culprits are the universities because they get a cut. Every time somebody gets a grant to do animal experimentation, they get a cut. So a lot of them are pushing. And perversely, as somebody pointed out, it's often the progressive liberal wing of the political movement that talks about you can't stop medical research. Now, to that I say, you can't be knee-jerk against everything one agency, one administration does. Even a broken clock is right twice a day. Okay? The animals don't really care who's coming up with these systems to end animal torture, and they could be wrong on every other thing. But if they happen to be right on this for whatever reason, I think that we should acknowledge it and not just use lives are at risk. I always say this, 30 some years ago, more than that, when I was a news anchor, I was asked to lead a march for the cure of a very famous march type. They have those all the time, people marching around, cure, raising money. So we went to lunch and I asked them, I said, well, what do you use the money on? I'm just curious. I'd like to know. Do you do animal experimentation? By the end of the lunch, I got word, and there were no cell phones at the time, but by the end of the lunch, I got word, you're off the hook. They don't need you. They don't want people asking questions. So, universities and some of these nonprofits that are all about the cure, meanwhile, the heads of their organizations are making hundreds of thousands of dollars in salary. They're self-perpetuating bureaucracies. So there's a lot of fault to go around.
Okay. We do have one last question from Michael, if you're prepared.
Sure.
His question is, historically speaking, when these animal breeders or animal factory farms get exposed or fold due to pressure and lawsuits, do the offenders tend to reincorporate under another name and start all over again? Or does that not really happen in the US?
Absolutely. The first major win against Beagle testing was, what's the name of it? Everybody knows. It's escaping my mind right now. I just talked about it. It was Envigo. Envigo, had 4,000 beagles. They had violated all sorts of laws and Animal Welfare Act and various other regulations. And they were forced to, 4,000 beagles were taken from them and they closed. Well, according to PETA, the same individuals are behind a current attempt to open a massive monkey breeding facility in Bainbridge, Georgia, under a new name, Safer Human Medicine. And so what they do is they come up with new names and they maybe shift from beagles to monkeys. But yes, the answer is yes. It's been described to me like organized. Well, I invite these companies on anytime on Unchained TV. I would love to dialogue with you, but it's like organized crime.
Right on. Thanks, Jane.
Wow. Thank you for those good questions, Michael and Danny. Thank you. Well, my goodness, this has been so informative. I try to keep up with animal news, but it's been wonderful, Jane. It's already made me think about maybe I could share some of the Ridglan Farms to my next door group, because of course I share it on some social media, but my next door, it's all about rescuing animals. And so this may be a way to introduce them to, hey, the experimentation aspect. So thank you again for that. And if you would like to give you one final minute to close up, to say anything, if you have anything else to say.
Well, I'm just so thrilled that Dr. Rao always gives us an opportunity here at Unchained TV to bring you guys the very latest. Please, at the very least, if you do nothing else, make sure you've downloaded the app, which is free, and it's on every phone. You just put in Unchained TV in your app store. There was Namaste Vegan Love, the music video that started out. Yeah, everybody's liking that. That's getting a lot of fun responses. And so what's great about this is that you can text any of these videos to your friends. So you have that friend say, I could never give up cheese. So we text that to that person. There's a gazillion cheese alternative videos. That's just one example. What I've been sending a lot of people is how not to die. Seems like everybody, all my friends, their parents have Alzheimer's or dementia, and there's a lot of sadness and crisis. And so I've been sending how not to die, which is also we can do together around food. It's the wonderful video about Dr. Rao and Jamin Shively's efforts in Washington State to get an entire town to go vegan. So please download it on your phone. You can also download it on your TV. It's on my Samsung TV or your LG TV, or if you have Amazon Fire Stick, Roku device, or an Apple TV device, you can download it and watch it on the big screen. There's a lot of incredible documentaries, and it is a very important part of the animal rights movement. So please be a part of it.
You bet. Thank you again so much, Jane. Lovely to see you.
Bye. Thank you.
The earth is calling soft and clear, not with judgment, not through fear. She whispers through the wind and trees, remember who you're meant to be. We are not divided souls, but living parts of greater wholes. Every heart, every nation holds a piece of worldwide resolution. We have remedies beyond survival, beyond the stories of denial. 1,000 pathways join as one. The healing has already begun. We have the remedy for compassion revolution, peaceful collaboration, a worldwide resolution. Loving guidance lights the way. Hope for humanity begins today. With loving kindness, hand in hand, together we restore the land. True nature lives in every seed, in every generous word and deed. The rivers, forests, skies and seas reflect the peace we choose to breathe. Spiritual embodiment, a living sacred testament, not escaping from this earth, but honoring her endless worth. Sacred restoration, nature, every shore we discover.